Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm gonna show you combo for Adventure Synchron deck. I will show you in this video 3 different lines. The main one, that is gonna be this one. The second one is gonna be a Junk Servant line. It's really similar to this, but it only needs a level 7 and Overtake. And at last, the Herald line, which needs Enchantress and Overtake. I'll also be putting down in the description some links with other combo lines on Dueling Book, getting Droll and going on with the combo. The combo under Shifter. This build is really resistant to a lot of hand traps, so that's really good. I will be showing you this with Rite, discard, and Overtake. This Overtake in this combo, it can be a Jet Synchron. Could be Sinful Spoils. Also, the discard is just because first search with Fateful is gonna be the monster, so we need a discard for that. But otherwise, if you're not afraid of Droll, which you should be, we use a discard. So let's start. We start with Rite, with the token, and we get Fateful. Now we search for a monster. The Gryphon Rider, we discard one card. We'll activate Gryphon. I like to wait for the search on the equip because this is a great way to chain block. If we get interrupted and we use the negate, then we can still go for Overtake and Junk Speeder, and then Junk Speeder 1, chain 2. Or the way I like to do it is after Speeder resolves, just to block start a Synchron search, because it's really important also. Activate Overtake for Jet Synchron. We can go for Synchro 8, Axel Synchro, Rite Jet. This is our 5th summon. Sometimes they will activate Nib, and that's great for us because you can chain Axel Synchro. Since you now Synchro for Stardust and then Synchro with Field, you Synchro for Junk Speeder. They both are unaffected until the end of the turn because of this effect. Sometimes they don't know this. This is a deck that has been gaining a lot of popularity, but either way, people don't know how to interact with this deck. So they will Nib there and you're protected. And if they need after Junk resolves, it's completely fine, so you don't have to worry. But yeah, sometimes they don't know that these cards are unaffected. You can activate the effect of Junk Speeder. They'll chain Ash, Baylor, Imperm, but this card is unaffected. So that's a great advantage that we have, that a lot of people just don't know what the deck does. They know that they have to stop this, but they just don't know that the card is unaffected. If they don't know what Axel Synchro does, I will tell them, like, I Synchro, and the cards that are Synchro by this effect are unaffected. Sometimes they just think they know what the card does. Sometimes they just don't ask, don't read. They'll ask if they can see the card, they read it, but they don't read everything. And then it actually happened to me on the regional. They saw the card, they read it, they said, okay, did effect, and then they try to Baylor it. I said, okay, and it goes through because Speeder is unaffected. So now, Junk Speeder effect, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Here's when I like to use Fateful, just to chain block Stardust Synchron. Sometimes really good players, if they didn't ash the Fateful, which I think is the next best thing to ash is Stardust Synchron, they'll do it. Illumination is a really great card for us in this situation. So I'll like to save the Fateful to chain block this. So we'll do chain 1, chain 2, and now we'll add Dracoback and the Illumination. So this is a really great way to stop our Stardust from being negated by Ash. Now we'll do a Synchro 8, Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing is a monster negate, so now we're more secure. Illumination, Special Trail, and we'll Synchro 5. Librarian, and now we're gonna get a lot of draws. Synchro 12 for Crimson Dragon, chain 1. Now we'll draw a card. Now we can use the effect of Stardust Synchron Engrave, Tribute Assault. Now we can trigger Trail Engrave. We can activate Revolution Synchron effect. We'll mill 1, and it will come back as a level 1. This is once per duel, don't forget that. Synchro 5. Axel Synchro, chain 1, chain 2. We draw another card, and we'll put the Stardust token, level 1. He's a dragon, so we can also go for this pattern here after we do the effect of Axel Synchron. Sending is cost. We'll send Stardust Synchron. This is the part why sometimes I say in the deck profile that I might play the 3rd Stardust Synchron, just because gotta go for a Synchro 6 here instead of sending this just to get a level 9, and then we can use Crimson Dragon. But I think it might be bricky, so I'm for now playing just 2. Sometimes you draw this card, you open this card, so this combo becomes something different. but it doesn't stop our board from being great and drawing a hell of cards. So now Axel Synchro will decide to increase it, so that this is a level 9 now. The effect of Crimson Dragon, target Axel Synchron to Synchro Summon a Trish. Chain 1, chain 2, we'll rip one card from the opponent's hand, we draw another card, and we can go for a Synchro 10, we'll go for a Baron, chain 1, and draw. Now we can do effect of Jet Synchron Engrave. We can discard anything. I'll discard the Draco back. And now we'll do Synchro 10 for this pattern. We'll draw. I can use effect of Illumination Engrave. Banish it, target here to reduce it by 1. It's a level 3. And we'll do a Synchro 8 for our last piece, Omega. And now Omega can do effect, banish one card from the opponent's hand, and bring back Omega with this pattern, and we can use Omega effect again. We have ripped 3 cards from the opponent's hand. He's left with 2 cards. He's gonna draw 1 more card, but we drew a lot of different cards. We drew 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we only use 3 cards. When you're playing the second, third game, you can draw a lot of side deck. But yeah, I will set the call by. Usually there's not much they can do, and in this scenario you have follow-up. You can also use the Diabell Star maybe to send this, and special you can use this just to set the wanted from the next turn. You can also, before you end, use the effect of wanted. If you already use the effect of the original Sinful Spoils, you can draw another card with wanted. So there's a lot of different ways you can go, but this would be the main combo. Let's go to the second line. So now I'm gonna show you the famous Servant line. I think this is not a secret, but in my build, it's a consistent way to get always combo, to get always to Junk Speeder unaffected with level 7s. Keep in mind, we use 3 Diabell Star, 3 Fenrir, and we use the Gryphon Rider. Sometimes this is a break if you don't open right, but if you just open this can easily be full combo. We're gonna do the example with Diabell Star, which I think is the strongest level 7, just because with Fenrir, if I start with Fenrir, I will not use the Fenrir effect. Just keep that in mind, because if you search and they draw you there, you're not gonna do full combo. So you need for the Jet search to be the only search if they draw you. Because if they draw you afterwards, it doesn't matter. Like, you're still gonna rip the hand and you're still gonna end up a big board. So I think a strongest level 7 in this scenario will be Diabell Star. If you open like this, you can special Fenrir and then use Diabell Star, and then keep doing whatever you need. But I will do as if I have only the Diabell Star in hand, and this would be our extra hand, just for example. Okay, so I will show you if we have Diabell Star. It's also our strongest level 7 because we can use its effect. It gives us original Sinful Spoils, which is practically another Omni Negate, and use Y. So I'll set this and I'll activate Overtake. This special Jet Synchron. This is also another reason why Overtake is so big. It's the only searcher I use because this can save me a normal summon, which is so important for Junk Servant. So I'll do Synchro 8 here. Here you can create your chains as you like. I always prefer to do chain 1 Jet, chain 2 Axel, just to be safe from Ash. But if they already Ash anything, for example, I had an Enchantress, and now I have to be careful of Ghost Spell, I'll do chain 1, chain 2, because they already use Ash, and I can protect this. Because if they negate this in this line, it's practically over, because you don't have a way to use Jet's effect, because you can only use 1 effect per turn. So in this scenario where they haven't used Ash, I'll do chain 1, chain 2, so they can Ash, and we'll search for the Junk Servant. Now we can normal summon, and this would be our 5th summon, so they can activate Nibiru, and as always, or as the last combo, I can chain this. Chain 1 Nibiru, we can do chain 2, and it will resolve as if nothing happened. So Stardust and Synchro with Field. This is our weakest line because we don't have the Jet Synchron effect to revive anymore, and we already use our normal summon. In other lines, like the previous one, if you use the Overtake, you can have a normal summon. So you can normal a Fenrir, normal a Tuner, you can normal a non-tuner, whatever you have in hand, you can keep extending or go for other Synchro plays. But in this scenario, in this line, it's our weakest line because we already used this effect and we we already use our normal summon. So we use effect Junk Speeder, it's unaffected. That's why this line is so great. Level 4, level 3, level 2, and level 1. Now we can use Stardust Synchron's effect to search for our illumination. And this is pretty much the same line, but we don't have the Jet Synchron's effect to revive, so we gotta do just a different sequence in the later part of the combo. So Synchro level 8, Stardust Illumination, Trail to Field, Librarian, Synchro 12. This is almost the same thing as the last one. So we can have here Stardust Synchron effect, Trail's effect, Revive, Revolution's effect is on the top one. We come back as a level 1, 5, in 1, chain 2, Stardust Token, we draw another card, effect Send as a cost, Stardust Synchron, increased by 4, so it's a level 9. Effect of Crimson Dragon, this comes back, Trish, chain 1, chain 2, we can reap one card from the hand and draw another one. Here's the only thing that changes. Because we did the Dia Bellstar first, we still have access for a level 1. But in case you don't have access for a level 1, to be safe, what you will do is Synchro 10 for this pattern, because you don't have a way to hand rip for another 2 cards unless you have this pattern. So effect here, draw, and now we'll do illumination, and now level 8, so Stardust Synchron as a level 3, and now we can hand rip for 2. Effect of this pattern, let's come back. Because we have this, we can still use it. If you drew it, it doesn't matter, because you can also special from hand, that's great. And then you can go for Baron. If you have original set, or if you have another way to get this, you can still get for a Baron before you ditch the Hyper Librarian, so you can draw another card if you do it before. But just keep in mind that if you go for Fenrir or for Gryphon and Overtake, you're not gonna have this, and you are already gonna use the Overtake and you don't have the effect of Jet, so you'll end up just on this pattern, hand rip 3 and Crystal Wing. This keeps us away from Super Poly, so that's great. And if you have original and you started with the Bellstar, so you can get another Jet Synchron. So you drew this amount of hand traps or cards in general. So we have Call by the Grave and an Imperm. This is great. Imperm always great against Typhoon. So yeah, that would be the second line. So now let's go for our Herald line. I really like this line, mainly because our opponent can't even attempt to use Droll if they have it. And if they have 2 hand traps, it depends on which hand traps they have. If they sequence it wrong, they'll need a 3rd hand trap to stop our full combo. But let me show you what you need. An Enchantress, an Overtake, and for this scenario, for this line, you'll need a 3rd card that is not a monster card. If your other 3 cards in their hand are monster cards, you're not gonna go for this line, because since Herald is on field, you cannot use the Jet Synchron's effect. You cannot pay its cost, which is to discard a card from the hand to the graveyard, to send a card from the hand to the graveyard. So yeah, let me show you. At first, I like to start with Overtake. Most people will not ash this. If they ash, sometimes you have another way to get the Jet Synchron. And if you don't have more plays, you can still go for the Rite, so you have some way of protection. But usually they will not ash the Overtake, because you have so many other great cards that they can ash, like the Speeder, the Stardust Synchron, the Enchantress, the Fateful Search, the Wanted, the original Sinful Spoils. Like, they have so many cards that they will think that are better to ash, and in most cases is better than ash Overtake. But let's show it. So you show Jet Warrior for Overtake's effect, and now you will special Jet Synchron. You like to start with this, because if they ash, you deal in normal summon, these get ash, and now you don't have anything. You start with this normal summon, Water Enchantress. For this line, you will also use the normal summon, so that's the not so great part, but it doesn't matter. You mostly don't use the normal summon. Synchro 4 for Herald. So this is our protection for the Water Enchantress Search, and if they have Droll in hand, they cannot use it because they cannot pay the cost for Droll, which is to send the card to the graveyard. They have some kind of negate that requires them to send to the graveyard. They can activate its effect. So now we use Enchantress effect to search for Rite. Now Rite effect, token, and the Fateful. If they, for example, they have 2 imperms, they have to use the imperm first here, so they can imperm our Junk Speeder. But if they imperm, you can keep this as a body, then you do not care about sending a monster for Jet Synchron's effect, then that you can still search for Fateful and go for the Gryphon. You have another renegade, you even go for Junk Speeder. With the Herald, you have so many ways to play. So now you can use the Jet Synchron's effect to discard this card. If you don't have a card to discard, but you have a monster that can special itself, you can special search for the equip, and then you can use Jet Synchron's effect with the equip, but you have one less space in the field. So you have to see how you freestyle, because this deck can freestyle so much, but you have to know these main lines just so you know how you can freestyle. So we'll use the Jet effect the same as the Junk Servant line. Now you don't have Jet Synchron's effect in grave, and you don't have our normal summon, but not a big deal. So now we'll go for Junk Speeder, and here Fateful is a great way to chain block. Chain 1, chain 2. Draco back, we'll go 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we'll activate Jet Synchron's effect, Illumination. So now we need our Stardust on field, so we can use Illumination and special or trail. Effect the draw, into 1, Synchro 8. So Synchro effect, we'll need Assault Synchron's effect in grave to revive our only non-tuner here. Now we activate Illumination, we'll bring Trail to field, and now we can go for our Librarian. Librarian interaction is really interesting, because now we can use the Axel Synchro effect to Synchro for Stardust Dragon and Synchro for Crimson Dragon. And since this is a mandatory effect, this will be chain 1 and chain 2, Soul Synchro's effect in grave to revive our Axel Synchro from the graveyard. So that will be chain 3, so we'll revive 1 and 2. So from here you can go a lot of different ways. Sometimes it depends on what you have in hand. For example, Original gives us another level 1, so we can confidently go for different lines. There are a lot of different ways, but since you have a Herald here, you cannot count on Axel Synchro, for example, or you cannot count on Revolution Synchron coming back from the grave, because you need to mill a card from the deck to the grave, and if it's a monster, it will not come back. And for Axel Synchro, it cannot dump as a cost a monster from the deck to the grave, so you cannot go for those lines. I will show you the most secure line, but you can also go for Croc, like level 9. Here, for example, you can go Originals and this. You can go level 9, then Synchro, and then you can go for Synchro for Crimson Dragon again, and then go for Baron, and then there's a lot of different ways. I'm gonna show you the most secure line, the most standard line. That would be the next one. Banish Stardust Illumination, target here, reduce by 1, and here we go for Synchro 10. Baron, draw another card, effect of Crimson Dragon, target here. So we can go for a level 10 effect here, draw, and here also it depends on what we have. For example, the Diabellstar, you can send the Overtake. Diabellstar, set a wanted because we already have originals. Send for original and go for Omega. We'll have another draw, and here you can, with Omega and this pattern, grip 2 cards, and you still have the Stardust Synchron effect and Trail here, because that would be the other line if you don't have access for the Diabellstar. Let's imagine you don't have access for the Diabellstar. Contribute Librarian, Stardust Synchron and Trail, and here you go for Omega. Now, Omega effect of this pattern, return, second effect, and you rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand. You have 2 Omni Negates, a Monster Negate, and cards in your hand that can be hand traps. This deck is really complicated. It has a lot of ways to freestyle. Like, there are so many combinations you can go for. Sometimes you have really weird hands and you go for different lines that sometimes gets you to Junk Speeder or gets you to a board without even getting for Junk Speeder. So yeah, you just gotta play test with this deck. Deck profile is there. I also did recently a deck profile for another channel, Hakuna Maidara. So you can go and search for it, and you can ask me anything. I will be trying to answer questions. If you see me on Dueling Book, don't be shy to ask. So yeah, I'm gonna just do a quick test hand just for you, so you can see what you can do, not just like standard line combo, but how you can play with different hands. So we're gonna do a quick test hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is not like a really strong hand, but I can assure you we can get to combo just because we have a level 7 and this will become a level 7. So we don't have Overtake for the Junk Servant line, but this is kind of like Overtake if you have another level 7. Just to avoid Droll, we can use Wanted in the draw phase, which, as I said, like this hand is kind of really fragile, but we have Call by the Grave, which is a way to keep us secure. So we'll do Fenrir, and we have Fenrir, and now we can use a Diabellstar effect, sending Jet Synchron to activate Diabellstar. So just because I don't want to get Droll, I will not search with Fenrir, so we can keep the call by for another hand drop like Ash. For example, Ash on the original, which can be common, can save us from comboing off. Because if after that we search with Fenrir and they draw us, we're not gonna get to combo. So I can activate original, send Diabellstar, and now we have our servant line. Pretty much from here is the servant line, so I don't know if I should keep comboing off, but just to show you, chain 1, chain 2, then we'll add servant, then we can normal summon. From here is practically the servant line, where we go for Stardust, and here Dunk is unaffected. You can go for this because this effect will add us illumination. And now, if they didn't nib here, which is unlikely, you can go for illumination because you have a spot. And now we can go for Pale, Librarian, and now we can go for the rest of the combo. So now we draw a card. And here we can go for Synchro 12, which means Crimson Dragon, effect draw. And oh, we have access for Adventure. I can activate now effect to go for the Stardust Synchron line, then Revolution, and then you can go same thing and you'll keep drawing cards. So now you have Wanted, you have Stardust Synchron. Okay, I will do just a quick second test hand just to end this, because you know how the Junk Servant line goes. Let's see if we draw another strong hand to this. We'll draw 5. 1, okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ah, this is perfect. This is really strong. We have 2 hand drops. This is full combo. This is another way to extend and have protection from Nibiru. So we'll do main, activate Rite. I like to activate it here just so we'll have a Rite in the center. Faithful. So now, because I don't want to get drolled, or if I want to get drolled is after the monster search, you can normal here, you'll add the equip, and then they drolled you, which in this scenario, because you have Diabellstar, doesn't change that much, but I prefer to have a protection, so I will decide to search the monster, the Gryphon, and then I'll discard, depends on what I'm facing. Here's your decision. Because I have more Ash and I will keep drawing if they don't roll me, I will send the Ash. Just a quick note in this part, you can also discard the Jet, but that makes us that we have to negate with Gryphon the original Sinful Spoils getting Ash. But just in case, I like to keep the Jet in hand, because if they Ash, I don't mind. Then I just normal summon Jet Synchron and I'm still protected from Nib with Gryphon. So that's the reason why I didn't discard the Jet. Activate Gryphon. Now I can search really. If they troll you, you can still equip from the deck, which is still a way to get Diabellstar, chain 1, chain 2. So we'll equip the original. Original can send again the equip, Jet Synchron. I'm gonna keep this because this is a negate. So if they nib here, or they try to nib when I activate its effect, the correct place where you will nib is when you activate this, and then you don't have this, that's the perfect place to nib. But if you have this, you're protected from it. So this will bring Stardust, the Jungle Speeder effect. Now, because we don't have enough space, we'll only bring Revolution, Jet, of course the Stardust. Stardust will add. If they need here, it doesn't matter. These both are unaffected, and we have this in the grave, this in the grave. We have these 2 special. It's too much. Now we can go for the standard line, and instead of tributing Salt and Field, we'll tribute this. You'll see. I'll activate this. So, Synchro 5. Brilliant. Now we can go for Crimson Dragon. Confirm that this is really fast. Effective draw. Enchantress, this is great draw. Tribute this. Special. Special. And from here is almost the same line. Effect. mill 1, synchro 5, this, chain 1, chain 2, the status token, we draw another card, send, level 9, effect here, Trish, chain 1, chain 2, rip one card, draw another hand trap, that's great. Oh no, I did something wrong, this was supposed to be here, I'm sorry. I return Axel. Yeah, so now we can Axel and the token for Baron. I'm sorry, I was a mess there. Draw, Jet Synchron, so we can pitch this. So when this comes back, we go for Spatter, effect to draw, and now we have another call by the pair, which is amazing. And we can then use Illumination, reduce by 1. Here we go for Omega, effect to rip, effect to return, effect to rip. So we'll set this, and we have Droll, Ash, rip 3 cards from the hand, and that would be it. Thank you for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you.